About 2 weeks ago, we looked at every alternative skin that had been revealed in DCKO up to the point of just before the server slam being announced. And in this video, we're going to look at the 13 characters that are playable in game, and as well look at their alternate skins, where they're drawing inspiration from, and a few other things as well. Make sure to subscribe with post notifications on all as we deep dive further things about DCKO, from gameplay, fight dynamics, as well as best strategies, and of course, a little bit of news, upkeep, and other things like skins coverage, and if we get time, a little bit of DC history and comic book tie-in. So speaking to the dev team, a little while ago I posted that alt skins video. It appears that there will be some naming conventions and cadence that they have to follow as part of their, not agreement, but their relationship with DC and Warner Brothers. Like, I've heard some people say that this version is a different one. Like, I first of all was like, was this Golden Age? But it's not. It is actually Silver Age Batman. The standard you'll get in game is going to be the Rebirth version. For those interested in how the costume system switching works, go down to costumes. Then all you need to do is click on the one that you want to switch to, providing you've unlocked it. It does cost gems at this moment in time, but that's a placeholder and everything is subject to change in alpha. Click equip, and then you're able to go down to bio, click on the screen, and then you're able to see the character in a 3D model if you wanted to just check out like how it works, how it looks even. Next up, Robin. You can see this has been referred to as the Lazarus costume, and then of course you can switch up to the Rebirth costume. I think there's a bigger question at hand in, will there be different versions of Robins in the future? Will we see Tim Drake or even Jason Todd? But really that makes more sense for him to be Red Hood. Nightwing has the ability to switch between the new 52 version and of course the standard Rebirth version. I tell you what, I am a bit of a sucker for the red. I do like it. Doomsday we know about this containment suit as we covered it in a previous video, and we know the standard one, which of course we've seen before. Starfire's alternative costume is referred to as Odyssey, which is part of a Justice League tie-in type of like comic book arc about 4 years ago, I think, where that costume is inspired from. And this is the Rebirth one, which you get as standard. A personal favourite for mine is the two skins that you get for Catwoman. First of all, the standard Rebirth version. Now, I did think this skin was closer more to the early 90s or up to like 1996. And even this one right here in the bottom left-hand corner, which is the 1999. But this is actually taken from the 9 Lives comic book story arc or artistry arc, which you can see here confirmed. And this has only been a very recent type of comic book, I think, yeah, a couple of years ago. Moving on to Superman, and we've got the Rebirth version as standard. The alternative suit is 2025 inspired. Now, first of all, I was thinking to myself, it's the movie version. And I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't check to see if there is a 2025 comic book arc, which is Superman Unlimited. And yeah, I'm not seeing any comparisons to this because I'm seeing a lot of the trim be very much like the movie version. And this, of course, could be good news or bad news, depending if you want movie versions in the game or don't want them in the game, or look, they need to cross-promote, of course. That's what games would do that especially have some kind of movie-based tie-ins. So we'll see what happens expanding this. Look, I know a lot of you want to see. I want to see the black and white one. I also want to see like a Superman Year One where it's still the normal suit in like the blue, the reds, but on the S, it's got like black with red on top, which if you're astute among you will notice that the Rich the Man logo for this channel is very much similar to that in similar kind of vein. We move on to Constantine, and I'll be remiss if I don't mention a fellow Brit in terms of yeah, this is what I think a lot of us know Constantine to look like, at least from a Rebirth sense. I will be honest, I'm not too familiar with the character. Doing a little bit of research for this, I didn't realize he had a band, which is cool. Having that on the side, and this mucus membrane, name of the band. Of course, there's a lot of visualization that you could go with. I've seen a few things where he could have his top off. He could just have like an outfit like this. There's various ways that he could go, or DC could go with this. They could even add more skin types further in the future. Turning our attention now to Cyborg. Of course, we know the Rebirth version, but we've also got the unplugged version, which, to be honest, I actually prefer the unplugged version to the Rebirth version. This version looks to be about 10 years old, from 2016, and I like it. It does very much depend on where they go with the character in terms of design. Like, I'm not a big fan of this skin, but I am a fan of the skin that is the one they've put into game. But there are ones that are going to hit and miss, I think, with a lot of players and for all the characters. This Bane suit really did throw me, and it is a story arc that I haven't personally read, but it was interesting finding out a bit more about the tabula rasa. I mean, come on, it's Bane in a suit. It looks interesting. This is taken from Batman fandom, so take it with a grain of salt, because I know people get quite funny with referring back to this as source material, but time is limited, and I've been thrown in different directions with this particular one. But this is from Bane of the Demon 1. There's possibility that Bane's biological father is an American doctor. In researching this issue, Bane comes to the conclusion that he and Batman share Dr. Thomas Wayne as their biological father. Now that marries up with a lot of things I've been researching for this one. Anyway, Bane alerts Batman to the possibility, and during the time that the DNA tests are being performed, he stays at Wayne Manor and fights alongside Batman on the streets of Gotham in the Tabula Rasa storyline, Gotham Knights 33 to 36, November 2002 to February 2003. And then it doesn't work out. And I found out they weren't related, but it was an interesting thing to learn. I might have to try and see if I can get that comic book story arc. Other than that, your standard is going to be the Rebirth version of Bane in game. Catwoman is next, and of course we got the Rebirth version. She's sporting that. This is the version that it does seem to be based on. Of course, one disappointment is that there's none of those like braces with spikes on, so that's a little bit disappointing, or gauntlets, or whatever you want to describe them. And I have seen a few people, whether it's like comments or things in feedback, that some of the weaponry that the character would be known for to use just don't seem to have them. Like, and would that be something in the future that DCKO might do, like switch out the costume to then have different weaponry? That is a complex thing, and maybe it's best that they answer that soon, just so people get their hopes tempered in a certain way. You could add things in terms of supers, like adding in animations that use those particular features, like gauntlets, bracers that are able to have the spikes on them, and other types of weaponry that maybe the character has moved on to use. And ultimately, there's loads of different types of costumes that could be added to a character, like the Flashpoint version. Flashpoint, by the way, amazing. I love Flashpoint. And I also like this version of Wonder Woman in the DC animated version that came out. That's great, by the way. Next up, we've got Zatanna. So I don't know much about this character. I'm going to assume it involves magic. The alternate costume is the new 52 version. Also looks like the character has had a brand new comic book story arc, so go and check that out if you're interested a bit more about the character. Anyway, you can see the costume in this edition of Justice League Dark Volume 1 in the dark, new 52, whatever you want to call it. I'll try and leave some links in the description to some of the source material and things. But yeah, that's where this looks like it's tied in from, especially when you switch to the new 52, new design. And finally, we've got Blue Beetle. Of course, we have got this version right here, which is the Rebirth version. And the alt is the Legado armor. This looks to be inspired by Blue Beetle Graduation Day issue 5. This was only from 3 years ago, so there's a lot of like modernization or modern, or like really all over the place, and a little bit from the past, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, modern day, 2 years ago. Really interesting stuff. And there we go. Hope you enjoyed it. That's an up-to-date video on all the alternative skins you can get in DCKO as part of the alpha. There will be more revealed as part of some of the other characters. And don't feel sad if your favorite alternative skin, costume over the years for your favorite or various characters is not there, because there's a chance in the future it will be there. There's just 2 costume slots that you can currently get at the moment, and I'm sure they'll add many more in the future. What costumes for your favorite characters would you like to see in the future? And thanks very much for watching this video and supporting. Subscribe for more. We'll be doing some gameplay things this week and into the future as well. So subscribe, post notifications on all, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.